When a push or pull is applied, we call as force. Push is the force that is exerted away from the body, for example kicking a football, and pull is the force that is exerted towards the body, for example drawing a bucket of water from a well. Now characteristics of force: when two forces act in the same direction, the resultant force will be the sum of the two forces. Here two persons apply force F1 and F2 in the same direction. So resultant is the sum of the two forces, that means F1 plus F2. When two forces F1 and F2 act in different directions, then the resultant will be the difference between the two forces. Here as F1 is greater than F2, so resultant will be F1 minus F2. So force has both magnitude and direction, and when any force can come into play when two or more objects must interact with each other. Here the box and the person both are in contact with each other, that means interaction between the box and the, because of the interaction between the box and the person, the object is moving. So the force can come into play only when the two objects or more than two interact. Force has a direction in which it is applied and measure its strength. That means more the magnitude, more will be the strength of the force. For example, 4 Newton force is greater than 2 Newton force. And if two forces act having same magnitude, that means same strength, and act in opposite direction, then the net force will be 0. As in this case, if F1 is equal to F2, then the resultant force F1 minus F2 will be 0. And the force can bring different effects like change the position, shape and size. And the SI unit of force is Newton. Now the effects: force can change the state of motion of the object. Now what do you mean by motion? When an object is moving with a certain speed in the particular direction, we said that the object is in motion. And what is at rest? When object is not changing position, we say that it has 0 speed. In order to move any object, we need to apply the force. In order to move this toy truck, we need to apply the force on that object. Not only this, force applied on an object can change the speed, bring it to rest, or even change the direction of motion. When a ball is moving with a certain speed and when the player kicks the ball, the speed changes. In the example, the goalkeeper, when he catch the ball, the object come into rest. When the cricket player hits the ball, the direction of motion of the cricket ball changes. And it can bring combination of these effects like change of direction of motion and change of speed. Hence we can say that force can change the state of motion of the object. Change in speed, bring to rest, change in direction of motion, all this can say as state of motion of the object. And any object cannot move by itself or change in state of motion without the application of force. But sometimes what happens, there is no change in state of motion because of the application of force. Why this happen? When we try to push a heavy wall, the wall will not change the state of motion because it is heavy. The force can change the shape. Here we can see that when we stretch the rubber band, the shape of the rubber band changes. When we squeeze the sponge, press it, the shape changes. When we squeeze the spring, the shape is changing. And this effect depends upon the magnitude of the force, how much force we are applying, and the rigidity of the object. The change in shape in case of spring and the sponge will be different because the rigidity is different. So force can change the shape and size of the object. Thank you.